Now is the time. A time you'll look back on. A time you adopt as inspiration. You will recollect this time, this moment, right now. Motivate yourself towards success. Overcome. Take over. The time is now.
This is a very organized show, as the guests have seen. The planning that's gone into this.
Yeah, exactly. Let's not talk about planning. We don't really schedule shows correctly, do we? We tend to go off in tangents. But hey ho, it is what it is. But anyway, welcome. We're back again, lads.
Here we are. Yeah, we're back.
Put on the old banner. And unfortunately, just the three of us though. Work's got in the way for Chris and Pete. Now, unfortunately, they can't be with us tonight. Obviously, wouldn't be the same without them. But obviously, work gets in the way as per usual sometimes. But both should be back tomorrow for away days for the Wolves game on Friday night. So
that's it.
Basically, the idea of this. I suppose we have to do it. The show must go on. But isn't the same with not all five of us, is it, lads? So. But I think basically the story about this show is obviously to celebrate what we've done in a short time, really. But what we wanted to do was we wanted to bring back a few of our favourite guests or people who've contributed to the channel and stuff like that, and also people that the viewers have enjoyed watching as well when they've come on the show. So they'll be spaced out throughout the night. We've got one in the green room already who was pivotal towards the start of the channel and doing all the loaded bags when we were a little bit depressed and down, and he'd try and come on and cheer us up and stuff like that. And to be fair, he did. But Mark, you said you wanted to just give him obviously a little bit of a backstory for anyone who doesn't know the channel from day dot, so to speak.
Yeah, it's, to be fair, I suppose probably from mine and Daz's perspective, it's quite a strange feeling to think we're 1 year old and kind of how we came together. So it's nice to be able to get on and celebrate. As you said, shame that not everybody is on, but it's still nice to be here with you two guys. But obviously we went through a fairly horrible period as COVID struck, and Steve Wraith, as many people know off of Twitter and other social media areas, was running shows, and myself and Pete and the guys, we all kind of met, in particular myself and Daz, on one of the shows that Steve was running, which was a worldwide show, which was about Newcastle fans everywhere in the world coming together and just chatting about NUFC. And we did that for a good while. We were on most Sundays, kind of lunchtime. We did a few match days, and we probably got to a point then we realized that me and Daz were the biggest stars on it, to be honest. And we said, sure, we'll move and we'll do our own thing. But we just kind of really enjoyed it. We had a good few spells where we kind of, we dropped on the Amigos. We were doing little sketches. We were dressing up and stuff. And, we really enjoyed, Daz kind of enjoyed the whole part of pulling the shows together and the creative side of things, which, to be fair, to this day, as much as it fucking pains me to give him credit, he excels at and spends a huge amount of time putting shows together. For us. Yeah, exactly. In 5 minutes. Yeah, there you go. I was trying to big you up and then you just go and blow it. You know what I mean? That's been the only time I actually say anything good about you. So we came up with this brainwave of coming up with a channel that we kind of said, let's do something a bit kind of like a Soccer Saturday or a Soccer AM vibe. And we kind of had football and we had a bit of music. And then the music kind of went a bit crazy. We brought Richie on board. And we were booking bands, and we've had some really, really good acts on. Jace Campbell, Dictator, load of other top bands that we had on that we found, and we're grateful to all of those guys for coming on and joining us and getting us going. But
And we still use their tunes today, Martin.
Yeah, we
actually
use their tunes.
We
do, yeah. Dictator and a lot of the guys. Yeah, exactly. And they do, to be fair to them as well, they do all keep in touch. Yeah, PG Charletta, all of those guys keep in touch. But we kind of realized that whilst we were doing all of that, we weren't spending as much time chatting about the club that we love. We weren't sitting in their black and white T-shirts and shirts and talking about everything that was good, bad, ugly, and indifferent. So we said, right, we'll strip back the music and we'll trim it down and we'll do a 1 hour on a Friday loaded mag. And that was how we got going. So we kind of changed the channel up. We brought kind of Chris and Pete and other people on board. And then people that you see in the green room that we'll bring on shortly. And we've kind of gone from 5 to 6 people, the likes of Dunnell and Julie, Geordie Tune for Life, Adam and other people that supported us from kind of day one to the point that we're nearly at 3,000 subscribers, which, considering we're 5 dads from different parts of, England and Ireland, and we sit and blather on a bit about the shite that goes on at NUFC pre-takeover and then post. It's very, very humbling that you sit and listen to us and you join us every show that we do and you give us the figures that we do. We started with shows where we were getting 100, 110 people maybe viewing, to the point now where we're getting 7,000-8,000 views a show. And it's just kind of mind-numbing, to be honest, at times, that we get that gratitude from people. So, yeah, I think this is just a bit of a reminisce. That's how we got going. This is where we are today. Sometimes we think we bring you too many shows. Other times we think we don't. But I think sometimes people that watch us don't realize the amount of hard work that goes in behind the background from the 5 of us. Whether it's pulling stuff together for the shows, even pictures, lastminute.com, if something happens or breaks. Daz and Richie in particular are pulling stuff. Pete works extremely hard to get the away days guys on to give us that away support feeling. Chris turns up, which is, he's great. He's mad busy with work. Sometimes. He comes on and he vapes. He normally makes up a time. He's not very punctual, but we love him all the same. And then, I work mainly in the background on sponsorship and stuff like that. And, again, we'll give those guys a shout out. But it's a lot of work, and sometimes it's hard for us to all get on, and sometimes we don't always get on together. We have disagreements, and sometimes, it takes us a while to iron things out. But we move on, and we come back with something bigger or better, and I'm sure, the guys will follow on after me and say a bit. We've got plenty more to come. It's an exciting time. Anybody that watched Pete Graves last night, the one thing that stuck out to me, not only him as a genuine guy, but it was a factor that twice towards the back end of the evening, he said, as Newcastle fans, just enjoy where we are. Enjoy the ride. Enjoy where we're going to go. Enjoy the club for what it is. Yeah, we'll have shit days like we did on Sunday against Spurs. But the good times are coming. And, we've been running this channel for the year now. And we've been through Bruce Ball, through Ashley, through COVID. We've been through some shit results. And, we're on the road to recovery and we'll move up. But it's a slow process. And as a fan base, we sometimes get divided, especially on Twitter, because we react real quickly. And I think the one thing I've learned as I've got older is, and I'm sure these 2 boys will tell you when I shut up in 2 secs, is that, I love it. I didn't cheer today, guys. Don't do that. The one thing that I've learned is
Adam will be company, he's not Bronwyn.
I know, I'm not Bronwyn yet. Adam's going to be freaking. And by the way, Adam, if you comment anything weird about this, lad, you're struck off. But the one thing I've learned is not to take too much to heart and not get too wound up about stuff. And at the end of the day, it's the club we love, but it doesn't really, sit in amongst the other things that we've got, like life and family and kids and everything else. So sit back and enjoy the ride. Hang around with us for the next 40 or so minutes. We're going to bring on some guests, and I'll hand it over to Daz, my co-creator and CEO partner, when we joined this and we started this a year ago. So, Daz, over to you, pal.
Well, I have nothing prepared like that. Like the time you spent and putting that together.
I didn't prepare that, mate. That's just straight off the hip.
I know.
Straight off the hip.
And if I started talking on that topic, I'd say the exact same things as you, Martin. So for me, tonight is just a bit of fun, and just to have a few people on. And it's only a handful actually, the people that we had on. There's so many more people as well that could have joined us as well. Yeah, we have a few things lined up. Sorry, should say Richie has a few things lined up. Richie has put all of the effort for this show.
No pressure.
I'm tired after a long day and the show last night, so if that's why I'm not on the beer, or I probably would fall asleep here live on the show, like Chris last night, or on his vape, according to Pete Graves.
Exactly.
But
Burnley losing as well. Sorry, breaking news: Burnley losing. Everton have just scored 2-1 now to Everton.
That's better for us in the long run. I know everyone wants Everton to go down, but that is better for us in the long run.
Richie,
yeah, we have a few prize draws tonight as the guests keep piling in. It's great, and we have a zebra if anyone's interested in zebra, because we found the zebra for one last hurrah. We put on the zebra as requested in the way it is the other night. But over to you, Rich. Back around to you.
Well, first of all, I've got to turn around and say thanks to you two for inviting us to be part of the channel way back when. Obviously, Chris had joined, I think, a week or two before I did, and obviously he brought me into it, and then Pete came in, and do you know what? I know we are like a band of brothers, we're a second family, and as Martin said, yeah, we all love each other to bits. We fight like brothers do, we make up like brothers do, and come back, and we all have each other's backs and stuff like that, and that'll always be the case, and I wouldn't want to do this show with anybody else bar you four. Do you know what I mean? So, in a way, we've it's a shame we couldn't get all five of us to get together tonight. But as I said, the show goes on. We've got some fantastic guests lined up that we've enjoyed having on the show. Viewers have enjoyed coming in, and I think what I'll do is we've got two in the chat. I think what I'll bring out now, because I know what he's got lined up for us. So we need to bring Keith in straight away. So there's a certain little intro we need to do that. And I think what we'll do is, Daz, once we've brought him in, we'll bring the person that was in the green room first after that, mate. Okay.
Okay. Cool. I got you, Rich. Nod. Wink. Wink. All right. It's Mr. Roller. All right, Keith.
Evening, lads. Happy first.
How are you, mate?
I'm really good, thank you.
But I think one of the reasons why obviously Keith had to be a part of the birthday show. He's a big part of the channel. He's on every single away days with Pete and Chris, or whenever anyone else actually steps up to help out if needs be. It was only right that we had to invite Keith, and he's actually come up with some fantastic channel stats for us tonight to celebrate our birthday. So I haven't got a clue what's up his sleeve or what he's got. But
this could be gloriously great or tragically bad. So let's see what he comes up with.
Yeah, we'll see. So go on, over to you, Keith.
Go on, start up.
It wouldn't be a loaded show with me on without any stats, so I thought I'll get some prepared ready for the occasion.
Very good. Good man.
So in total, in the space of a year, there's been 163 loaded HQ shows since April last year. Working out at one show every less than 2.5 days, 2.2 days. So well done to you guys for keeping out with that explosive content, really, on a consistent basis. There's been over 234,000 views of loaded HQ shows and content in the last years. So think of it this way. If Loaded HQ was a band and this channel was their first album, then Loaded would be well on their way to that first platinum disc in the space of a year. So that's brilliant work on you guys, and it's been an upward trajectory since the takeover. I've noticed you've been getting 8,000 views for some of your takeover shows, and obviously your transfer window shows. So brilliant work there on all involved, and the guests that you've had on, like Ben Jacobs, Sean Custis, Pete Graves, some real highlights there in the last year. I thought I'd come up with some stats for the team as well, some personal stats here as well, some achievements. Now, we know he's not here tonight, Mr. Chris Hall, and there's a good reason for that. Because we know he works really hard, Chris, not only on this show and not only on NUFC Matters, on the Rant show as well, the Fan Forum show with Pete. But obviously he's got a second job, and we know what his second job is. And in his second job, Chris Hall has earned an average of £2,679 per month working for Avon in the last year.
Oh, I tell you what, he's never pushed any of that into the loaded kitty. By the way, we need to have a word about that, Hawley.
Yeah, it's public records there. Now, Pete's not here either. And we know Pete works really hard on the away days. Does a fantastic job on the away days, and it's great to be part of that show. And on the Fan Forum show, one of my favourite NUFC Matters shows of the week. But Pete, he's drank 98 glasses of brandy on loaded shows in the last year. Now, if he was on here tonight...
Surely that stat's wrong. That's got to be higher.
He'd be pushing tonight. He's close to that century. And if he was on tonight's show, he could have got that century of brandy drinks in the last hour. But who I feel most worried for here, before tonight's show has to be added, right? Now, Martin, before tonight's show, had gone 3 loaded shows without a drink. Now, that was beginning to worry me, but I'm pleased to see that you've put that right there.
I did have one last night.
He was off the drink for a month.
Yeah, I was off the drink for a month. Yeah, I did dry January apart from the 31st. So I did,
brilliant,
yeah.
Brilliant
Okay, 3 shows without. That's pretty good. I've maintained. That's yeah, I'm happy with that. That's a good start.
Out of how many shows was it again?
Out of how many shows was that? Yeah.
So that was 3 shows out of about 6 to 7 to 8, really. So
that's not bad.
That's some going. That has to be said. So well done. And it's honestly, guys, happy birthday to everybody involved. Happy birthday to all the sponsors that make this show as well. And you know, it's a pleasure. Obviously, it's been a pleasure to watch this show grow in the last year, right from the beginning. I used to love at the beginning the loaded weekly, the loaded football weekly.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the difference that you guys were bringing, where you were talking about European football and the challenges that you'd have on there. And I love the music as well. It helped give Loaded a really good start as a unique channel.
Cool. Do you think can we ask you a question then? Because obviously me and Richie kind of got big into the music, and then we kind of verged back to the NUFC stuff. Do you think there's still room for the music somewhere on Loaded HQ as a channel, as say a 30-minute show profiling bands or something outside of NUFC? Do you think that fits within our channel regime kind of thing, or do you think that ship has sailed as such?
Or even going back to a 30-minute, like as Keith said, like, you know, like a loaded football weekly where we have like general football chat.
What I would say first is on the bands thing. I would say it's definitely not completely sailed. You know, if you look at what's on other football content, they don't generally tend to bring music in as such. You know, popular culture, and as much a lot of it is Newcastle focused. Some of the other channels I know Steve does on NUFC Matters, he brings in other elements like crime and topical debates, you know, public affairs, all of that sort of stuff. And I noticed Newcastle Fans TV are starting to bring Formula One in as well, you know, and obviously they've got quite a membership there as well. So I wouldn't say it's gone completely. Maybe there's opportunities in the summer because we haven't even got a football World Cup this summer. That's pushed back to the end of the year. Maybe there's opportunities there for filling opportunities with festivals in particular. You know, there could be opportunities there with bands and going through with a half-an-hour show there. And obviously the music, the other sports element as well, you could run through that as well.
Cool. Okay, food for thought.
Yeah. Well, we'll add it to our backlog.
There is a world of sport out there, evening bars,
and that's great insights there, Keith, and the stats. I can't believe you went back and watched all our shows to get all those stats. That's dedication.
We all love it. It does.
Like 250,000, near enough, over 250,000 viewing stats.
Wow,
like that's
amazing.
that's a crazy number. Crazy number. Baby Craig says cycle in chat.
In particular, guys, in the last 6 months, I've noticed in particular your figures have just gone through the roof. When you think of where you were in the first couple of shows, like Loaded Football Weekly, a couple of hundred, maybe 500, and now you're getting thousands really, and pushing 8,000, pushing 6,000 regularly. So brilliant.
But we've yet to break the 3,000 subs. What is going on, guys? How can we not break 3,000? That's our question as a channel, us guys, and it's not. Listen, you talk to any of the lads, Keith, and any of the guys that are watching, people in the chat. We always, in particular, Daz will flash up, subscribe, hit the subs, everything. It's not all about driven for the numbers, but we sometimes look at it as a channel and go, what are we not delivering that we can't break that 3K? Are we missing a trick somewhere? And it is slow growth when you go back and you look at the year and you go, we've got nearly 3,000 after a year. That is actually massive growth. But sometimes when you're sitting and you're working and kind of, trying to deliver good content, you're kind of wondering, are we missing something,
One thing I think you've started to do a lot more of, and I know you're hinting that on the channel as well, is the fan interaction with other channels. I know you started to do that as well on the Monday show as well. And I think that was beneficial. When you linked in with, on the Monday show, I forget the guy's name. He'll come and hit us back, but he's a great content provider as well. And you've obviously linked in with Steve. Paul Toon Review. That's the one. Thank you, Daz. That sort of stuff, I think that can help drive the subscribers up as well from observations as well, and the casual fans can link in, and say, all right, they've got a channel as well. Let's have a look and see what they're doing and popping about. I think you're going in the right directions. I'm just wondering, and I've noticed this on a couple of channels that I watch that haven't been getting as many subscribers or views recently, if the pandemic and the going back to normal, if there's been a slight drop off there, people aren't able to listen and watch as much content as they were in the lockdowns. So
yeah, it is, and that's one of the things where we used to do Load of Mag on a Friday, but we're kind of conscious now that the good people who are in the chat in here now, like people are out and about on a Friday night, so it's that weekend vibe has come back. So it's for us, there is chunks, and we've spoken as a channel about certain things need a revamp and how do we rehash and how do we refresh and everything else. So look, there's loads more coming from us. We will break those barriers. I remember sitting back a few months back going, let's break 1,000, and now we're approaching 3. So we'll keep doing what we do, and as long as people like watching us.
Yeah.
But we probably need to bring some more people in, Daz. There's a fucking queue of people here.
I'm laughing.
Is that the 1,000 subscribers, Martin, where you got the extra buttons?
It was when we got the extra buttons, yeah. Daz was delighted that we got the extra buttons. Yeah.
There was no extra buttons. We get
Madrid have beaten Chelsea 2-0 already. Benzema twice with a belter.
Yeah.
Bigger buttons if we get reach 3K. And some I know in the private chat there. In the private chat there from our people in the green room, there's a suggestion for a karaoke and for some YouTube classics. Isn't that right? You know who you are. Okay, Richie, are we bringing out our next guest like you suggested?
Yeah, go on, mate. He's waiting long enough.
Now, who is it? We've called him Takeover George. We've called him Protest George. We've called him a lot of George. We've called him a lot of things as well behind his back.
Curious George. That's a different program.
Yeah, that's it. But now he's known as Technology George, and he can explain that one himself. Welcome back, George.
Happy birthday, lads.
How are you, mate? How are you then? Are you all right, mate?
I am, apart from the little hiccup in getting into the green room and fucking up the sound.
Yeah. Welcome to our week.
Yeah.
I think the best way to kick it off, George, is I know we mentioned it briefly at the start of last night's show, but we want to say thank you in person for helping line up Pete Graysall, because you spotted an opportunity for the channel, and saying we'll vote for his podcast on a certain awards. And fair enough. He said done deal. We've got it lined up eventually, but that wouldn't have probably come about if it wasn't for you. So from myself and the lads, and obviously Pete and Chris, who aren't here, much appreciated, mate. We really do appreciate it, and it was a fantastic show. If you haven't watched it, catch it up on the channel now. It was a really good show, and to be fair, like everybody who was in the chat now, everyone that was on last night could have listened to Pete talk for hours. He's just one of those guests, and can't wait to have him back at some point in the future. So much appreciated, George.
Can I just say to George, in my opinion, when we got you on, obviously we were reading the 65-page threads that you were putting up on Twitter about the takeover. I would say that for us as a channel, and maybe Daz and Rich have other views, but when we got you on for that first show to talk over the stalemate in the takeover and all those other things, in my humble opinion, I believe you were the catalyst that catapulted us as a channel into the arena, because that night when we got you on that first time, the channel exploded. Like, we hit views that we'd never hit before. We got DMs, we were getting tweets, we had people following the Twitter handle. We were all getting interaction on our private DMs, loads and loads of stuff. So for me personally, as and probably Daz will do the same, but I'd like to give you certainly a personal thanks for that first show, where I think you helped bring us to another level. And we owe you massively of what has been our future and where we are. So thank you very much for everything you've done for us.
Thank you. I don't know what to say. You've stunned us into silence.
Great shout, Martin. Sorry, George. I'm just going to cut in for a second, and I'm going to give credit to Chris. I don't often give credit to Chris, so I'm going to give credit to our Chris, because Chris was made the suggestion of getting you on, George, and I at the start I was kind of a bit. I don't know some of these guests, what way are they going to take things, but no, you were brilliant, and look, we how many times did we get you back after that? So it was great getting you on and getting to know you as well.
I think the thing that I enjoyed, and listen, I can talk for Ireland and England combined when we have really good shows, but I think when you watch shows where us as a group of lads are just sitting in silence listening, it's a really good show. There wasn't that much chit chat on the back end of the Pete Grave show last night, because like everybody else that watches these shows, when you get a guest like that, you just sit in silence and you just enjoy your guest talking. And I think the one thing that I enjoyed when George came on, the amount of shows that he did, I didn't really know what was happening in the takeover. I didn't really understand the legal ramifications. I didn't understand what the legal challenges could be, what a certain update in Company's House meant. And I think for me, the thing that George brought to us and to other people on the takeover was just simplification, and that he broke down all the barriers and the bullshit and just said, lads, this is what it means. And I think that from that, but Daz is broken. I think from that perspective, I think it really helped a load of people understand where the takeover was and enabled them to make their own judgments and their own decisions and their own calls. And I think that's a massive, massive credit to you as a person, George, because that wasn't an easy time for any Newcastle fan. It wasn't an easy time for mental health. It wasn't an easy time for the club. It wasn't an easy time for supporters. And I think those shows, I've actually watched them back a few times. And in particular, those first 2 or 3 where we didn't have a clue what was going on, you just brought absolute crystal clarity to the whole situation, and enabled people, a bit like myself, who might not be as well educated and rounded as you are, to be able to understand what the hell was going on. So I think it's, again, don't knock the credit, because I think it was a huge, huge effort to put that in. And again, I'm 100% convinced it was the catalyst to driving us on from where we were to the levels we're at now, because people got stuck into the channel.
It was, I think one of the things that George has said, you're right there, is he broke it down to layman's terms so everybody could understand it. And that's why I think it was such a success, mate.
I mean, honestly, lads, it was just, you're right, it was an awful time, and I spent far too much of my time trying to understand it. Yeah. And there's nothing worse than sort of because you've got to like carve through the bullshit to understand these anyway, and then you've got to apply like what you know happens in reality. So you've got the law, and then what happens and how negotiations go on. And I was just sort of making some sensible, logical leaps, I suppose. But you gave us the platform to sort of to talk about it, and I remember sort of I think you hit 1,000 views, and then you had Ben Jacobs on, he trumped it, and then but that's not that wasn't down to me. That's down to you and the work that you've done in the background to get the guests on. And I mean, the shout out Pete Graves, it was I was a bit tongue in cheek. I'll vote for if you go on load, but you do it anyway. You had Keith, you've had Custis, I mean Jordan, who does the regular shows. You've had some cracking guests. I mean, you brought your first channel to get Sean Casey on as well. And I mean, it is just that Newcastle community, isn't it? And that sort of belonging. But I think the sort of unique selling point that you have is you don't always agree with each other, and you've set it out. You've got that like brotherly relationship. But because you don't always agree, you're happy to listen to everybody else and listen and challenge where challenge is, or talk it through, and I think that's where you really get that set you apart. That's nothing to do with me. That's your ability to listen and to encourage people to come on, and you get that range of people like and just listening to some of those stats that Keith sort of set out there. I mean, it's testament to the hard work you've put in, and then obviously like sort of sequence and my appearances on the show. I think one of my favorite nights was the Takeover night, because I mean, it was just mad. And credit is in a 5-hour show and just getting pissed, but it was.
I actually said that to Pete Graves last night. I was fucking hammered. I don't remember the last 2 hours. I remember crying very early on, and then after that, then it was a fair few cans. I was dying the following day. I was so ropey. Oh man.
I'm not surprised, but I mean,
thank God it was a Friday the next day.
Once. Oh man!
But Pete nailed that last night as well in terms of the sort of the age that we're living in, and in terms of that. You mentioned how being over in Ireland, you don't necessarily feel as close to it, but you are part of the sort of getting the information out there, and whatever guys that is, and whether it's through the transfer show or the takeovers or whatever, it's that just. What underpins it is the love for the club and that general football knowledge, and you can't get away from that, because it's like having the opportunity just being in the pub speaking to your mates, which for a middle-aged man like me with kids and ties is a bit more difficult. So this is it's an opportunity, isn't it, to just get around with people who you like and spend time with. So thank yous all. Happy birthday, Loaded. Here's to every success in the future as well, and long may it continue.
I think one thing I'd like to say before you go, George, is, and this always sticks out, was when before you actually came on the first show, and Chris told us all of it in our WhatsApp chat, and it always sticks back. It makes us feel really good as a channel, and that was when he obviously reached out about getting you on after your first 65 page thread on Twitter, and he Chris told us, he says he only wants to come on Loaded. And at the time, we were still, a little channel, small channel. Do you know what I mean? And as Martin said before, you were probably the first show that really kicked us on to the next level. Before we got some more big, obviously well-known, national guests and stuff that people know. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's one of the things that always sticks out to me, that you turned around and said you only wanted to come on this channel, and that'll always mean something to me and all the lads, because it does. Do you know what I mean? You'll always be a part of that, and what we've become. Whether you think that or not, you will be.
No, I appreciate that, Rich.
Everybody has a part on the journey, I think. Do you know what I mean? And that's the important part. But we'll get a couple more people out in a minute, because we've got Simon and we've got a couple of others sitting here. But it is, as a channel, you do work hard to get guests. Like, I plugged away at getting Ben Jacobs on, and when he did commit to coming on the channel, even as a group of 5, there was some of us within the group that went, oh, hang on a minute now, this could kill the channel. Newcastle fans hate him. But as a channel, we said, well, you know what? But like, the idea is we bring people on whether people like them or hate them, because we want anyone to be entitled to listen and to have an opinion. And if you decide at the end of that 90 minutes that you don't like him, fair enough, don't watch again. But if you do watch him and you think he's all right and you're happy to listen to a bit of varied opinion, then that's the right thing to do. So yes, we are controversial at times, and we don't. Yay, he's back. Gorma Pile is back. Woohoo! What happened there?
I got jinxed because I was slagging off George, and look what happens to me. My microphone.
Technology, George, that blew up in your face.
Yeah,
Shocks, didn't it?
Exactly.
Do you know what? I was just about to say, we've got Simon, one of our sponsors, in the green room, waiting to do a sponsor giveaway, right? And we can't even do it because we haven't
do the spinny wheel.
No. Yeah, because we want to do it live at the anticipation that Daz wanted to bring to the show tonight, and all of a sudden he's not there.
Daz, can we get the wheel back on, Gary?
And I have the wheel. Don't you worry about the wheel.
Right, come on, let's get a couple more people on. We better get Simon on here because I can see him sitting in the background. Yeah. He's probably cursing us, going, "Geez, these lads are shy. Why did I sponsor?"
Here's Simon.
Well, good evening, lads.
Evening,
I'm good. How are you, lads?
Yeah, we're all good, mate. Good. Really, really good. I suppose, will I chat about sponsors? I suppose I will. Drag most of them. Yeah, sponsors. So Simon and his company, Shy Bairns, is one of 3 sponsors that we have, and we do have multiple sponsors that kind of bring a little bit something different. And to be honest, when we kind of kicked on and we started as a channel, it was really, we always had ideas of bringing on sponsors, and it was really hard to get anybody to engage with us. With limited views, we were only producing maybe 1 or 2 shows. So to try and generate anything or kind of get something to get a giveaway or do anything, it was really hard because people didn't know us. They didn't know what we were about. And I suppose the first thing I would do is probably give a shout out to Mind, Body and Soul, who were the first kind of company that, after chatting with them, kind of believed in us as a channel when we were Loaded Football Weekly, and very much a kind of a mental health based charity, helping people who were in trouble, even financial troubles, and kind of gave us, T-shirts and a few bits and pieces to give away. And then we kind of got ticking. Then we got a couple of other little bits and pieces. We done a couple of bits with Magpie Kit and other little bits and pieces. It kind of didn't work out. And then we got people the likes of Bronwyn, who came on. Obviously last night we spoke about it with 1881. Simon then, I played a little bit of a sneaky trick, if I'm honest, because I kind of seen a little bit of banter between him and another channel. And I was like, there was a little bit of talk about some sponsorship going on. I was like, no, I'm fucking having none of that. And I DM'd him and I said, Simon, we've got this channel, I'm big into this and this, that. And he was like, oh, no bother, lads. But it is from Simon's perspective, and we'll get him to tell you a little bit about about Shy Bairns and stuff, and what he does and where some of the profits in that go to. But for me and Richie, it was really, really great to get him on board, because mental health, anybody that's watched the early shows on Loaded know that both myself and Richie have had mental health issues during last year. And both of us have had time where we've not been on the shows, and we've had times where we've needed extra help. Bring back the zebra. It's coming back.
It's coming back.
And we've had times where, for me, Richie and Daz and Pete and Chris have been my lifeline at times, because they've pepped me up when I've been in a bad space, and vice versa.
Oh.
I don't know, yeah. I was going to say that while you were off, but I thought I'd wait you back. But Simon came on, and Simon, do you want to tell us a little bit about Shy Bairns and how it happens and kind of what you do? And George Daz has probably got a couple of pictures, but in particular the piece with the mental health and everything else.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a personal thing for myself as well. I've been suffering from depression and anxiety for coming up to 4 years now, and at the time I didn't really know what was happening. So I think it's still quite a bit of a stigma these days, even though it's a lot more sort of mainstream across social media and things like that. I think there is still this stigma that hangs around, which prevents people from coming out and talking about it openly. But also, I think there's still a long way to go to educate people about what's out there for them to go and get help, places to go where they can talk to people, They can find out information, and it's something that I was lucky enough to have the support of my wife, who kind of spotted it and kind of made us go and seek help from the doctor. And if it wasn't for her, then I'd probably still be in the same situation where basically couldn't get out of bed, stopped communicating, wouldn't answer the phone. So it was kind of good that I had that support, and somebody kind of knew me that well to be able to say, look, I think you need to go and speak to somebody. And I did. And it was the best thing I ever did, was to go and speak to somebody, get some help with obviously coping with the anxiety and the depression, which had quite a tight grip at that point. And I think after that experience, I felt as though I wanted to do something, because I knew how difficult it is to kind of admit that you've got a problem, and try and get some help. So I decided, what could I do, and how could I try and bring something that would help raise funds to help support charity, but also a means to raise awareness around the subject as well, and get more people talking about it, and hopefully at some point provide signposts to help people. So if they don't want to particularly go to see a doctor, there's information there which I can put out so they know where to go for help, or there's articles that I want to put out with more information so they can understand mental health and what it entails and how it can affect people and how to spot the signs, so that there's more information gets pumped out there so people can educate themselves.
Good stuff.
So I've always been in the kind of hoodies and t-shirts and caps and stuff like that. So I didn't really want to just start a clothing brand just for the sake of it. So I brought the mental health side into it, and I've always kind of had this sort of phrase, a Geordie saying, that's always kind of stuck me since I was a little kid. My granddad used to say it all the time. My dad said it all the time. My uncle said it all the time. And it was Shy Ben's getting out. And that just seemed quite apt, because it means it covers a lot of the areas of mental health. If you don't ask, you won't get any help, kind of thing. So it was kind of, it felt right, but it also kind of kept the sort of the roots, the Geordie roots, and the spirit of, Geordies are always very helpful people, very open, willing to do anything for anybody. If somebody asks for help, they'll turn around and help them. So I thought it was quite a good sort of name to kind of embolden what the whole thing's all about.
Good stuff. So you're working with Work for Good for mental health. You sent me a top t-shirt, which I'm very, very much appreciate. Daz has got the details. We'll put some stuff on the Twitter and that later on, but you can get online to shybairns.com. Simon is all over Twitter. He's on Twitter personally. Shy Bairns is on there. He's on Facebook and everywhere else. The quality, the kit that he's got on there, you can see some of the stuff that Daz is putting up, the hats and the beanies, t-shirts and the hoodies. They're top class. And everything that goes through Simon and some of the other crowds, they all do promo codes for us and different bits and pieces. So you can get on there, get yourself some really good kit. He does give a donation out of every sale that goes to the mental health charities. So it's not all going into, back into the brand. He does invest and he does put stuff through there. But I think it's a really, really good cause. So listen, best parts of 3,000 subs. Please, on behalf of Loaded, get in touch with Simon at Shy Bairns. Get online, go on there and get yourself something. Get some kit for the summer. Get a nice baseball cap. Get a T-shirt or whatever. A few quid, and it goes to some really good causes as well. But as we always like to do with our sponsors, we like them to come on sometimes, and we Daz in particular loves to pin up the spinny wheel as he does, and we pick out somebody that we do a bit of a giveaway for. So, Simon, what have you got for us to give away this evening, mate?
I'm going to give away one of the new designs. Remember to be kind to your mind design.
Very good.
So t-shirt with the new design on.
Very good. Right, Daz.
Righty-o. Yeah, so this is, because we've got a number of draws tonight, this is the Shyburns draw. So let's bring up the wheel, and hopefully I don't crash. Here's the wheel. And maybe you mentioned it while I was off, but we had a new member to join as well who are live in the show, Unlock the Funk 9. So, Unlock, you have gone into the draw as well. You just missed the deadline and you're in there. You're in the draw. You made the deadline even. So let me spin the wheel for the first prize of tonight. Here we go.
It's so tense.
Maybe Chris Hall.
Exciting stuff, this, isn't it?
It is.
I tell you what.
Andy McClay, Jordy Springer.
Jordy Springer, there you go. Well done, mate.
Congratulations, Andy.
Congratulations. So, Andy, if you get in touch either with the Loaded Twitter, drop us a DM, or to me, Daz or Richie, we'll put you in touch with Simon and he will hook you up with your prize. So, yeah, well done, Andy. And thanks to Simon for the giveaway. And massive, massive thanks as well to Simon as well for having faith in us as a channel, giving us the support, giving us bits and pieces to give away. And listen, just thanks very much for supporting us and looking after us and being a top sponsor. So thanks very much, mate.
I've got something to say to Simon.
Have you? Okay.
Simon, you were slagging off my hair. Why?
Just jealous, Dad.
You see where I'm going with this? You see where I'm going with this, Simon?
Yeah.
That's fair game. Oh yeah.
All right, Daz. Who else have we got? Have anybody left?
I've got to say, if anyone needs to get away, just feel free to get away. Obviously, you don't feel obliged that you have to stay on. I know you might have other commitments and stuff like that. So,
actually, lads, just before you get somebody else in, just as a special for the Loaded subscribers, if they go to the site, put Loaded Mag in the discount code box, we'll get 15% off anything they buy.
Oh, nice one.
Wow.
So there you go. Well, on that, I heard what Simon said. So onto the website, Shyburns, and get yourself in 15% off with the promo code Loaded Mag. Get yourself on there. Get the t-shirts are top class. I'll be taking mine on my way in a week or so off to Lanzarote, and it is and will be packed in the bag. And I will be sporting that while I am over, hopefully getting a bit of sunshine in a couple of weeks' time.
I look forward to those pics.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, mine of yours is with the Brazilian as well. There you go. All right. Who we got next?
We've got Mr. Charlie Bennett.
Oh, here he goes.
Welcome, Charlie. Chaz is back.
Chaz is back. Yay!
Hi, boys. How you doing? Happy birthday. Happy birthday, boys.
Thanks very much. Thanks.
I'm not bad. He's having a good one.
Yeah, well, I've got a beer, so any birthday that has a beer. Although it is a school night, so I have to say I'm only having one.
Just have a couple, man. Have a couple. It's your birthday, man.
It is my birthday, yeah.
Martin, it's going to be a better birthday than me because my birthday was on Sunday, and I went all the way down to Spurs. I went all the way down to Spurs on the bus, 5 hours down, 6 hours back, seeing the tune get humped, and it wasn't a good one, but we made the most of it. At least we went 1-0 up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. You got to take every positive, every silver lining, Charlie.
Wait, do you know what happened? Obviously, we went 1-0 up. It went 1-1. Went to half time. Had a half time pint, as you do. It's my birthday. Overstayed me welcome in the lovely new £1 billion stadium. So I was enjoying my pint. Didn't even realise the second half had kicked off. Finished it. Went back to my seat. It was 3-1. I think was it Son that got the third one. He was running away celebrating. I went 2-1. What? Looked up at the scoreboard. It was 3-1. I couldn't believe it. But it's one of them.
So what's going on, mate? Been a little while since you've been on. What's happening in your world at the minute?
I finish university next month, and then I'm a full-time sports writer. I'm working for the Chronicle at the minute, freelance. I'm working for the Chronicle freelance at the minute, doing 4 or 5 shifts a week, and then I'll just either get uni out the way, mate, and then we're full guns blazing.
Good stuff.
Loving it.
We've noticed your work creeping up and up and up on the Chronicle website and stuff like that. And we've obviously been in talks. We have got a couple of ideas coming up for shows going forwards with like Northeast and national journalists as well. And Charlie is going to be part of that panel at some point as well. And he's what we've always discussed on this channel is, we're 5-year-old fogey dads, so we need a bit of young blood on the channel occasionally as well. And,
you can't even say that I'm young anymore, man. I turned 25 the other day.
Fucking hell, man!
Really? 25 over the hill.
God, shut up, man! I'm double your age. And I know you're saying just have a few more beers, but by the time I get up, because I'm double your age, when I do get up tomorrow morning, I feel twice as bad, pal. That's why I'm only having one.
What did you think of my little suggestion, the chat, Martin? That's where I say karaoke, man. Karaoke. You were mentioning the music before. You mentioned the music.
As a channel, we're open to most things. If it raises the investment and it gets us a few more coffers and members, then yeah, we're up for anything.
I know the title. Karaoke with Chris.
Load of karaoke.
We could have our own little X Factor show, maybe on a Saturday night. We can get a few people off Twitter to be judges. Yeah. One of us each week.
All works, mate. All works. So you've been on with us. How many times have you been on now? 3 or 4 times now.
I think this is the fourth time. I think this is the fourth time I've been on.
Match ball.
Match ball, yeah. Richie will look after that for you. If you just reach out to richiematchball.com, he'll look after that hat-trick ball. But for me, like the shows when you come on, I really enjoy them because there's a good bounce. Like the banter's good, even despite the results sometimes during last season were shite. You still came on and had a bit of crack. And we've had some really, really good shows. And I think, some of the content that you kind of talk about, you can see why now you're doing the freelance stuff for the Chronicle, because you're very, very good at, understanding that piece of the game and kind of being able to relay that, kind of like George, relay that in your articles in a way that us fans just get. So I hope that long may that continue, and after uni, you go on to bigger and better things, and the Chronicle stuff goes well. But as Richie said, we're looking forward to having you as part of one of the shows moving on, and again, long may that last as well. So thanks very much for the support throughout your time.
Oh, cheers, Martin. I appreciate it, mate. You're making us blush there. I don't know if you can tell with the light, but you're making us blush.
Yeah.
No, do you know what? It's sort of ironically, it's your first birthday today. It's probably been about, well, not yours, the show's. It's been about a similar sort of trajectory. Because before uni, I left school. I just went and jumped on the building site. Long days, wasn't really good money, but I wasn't really enjoying it. And then I went and did something that I really want to do. Went back to education, and now I'm in my last year.
You're good at it as well, Charlie.
Cheers, mate. I appreciate it, man. And I've just got my nut down and just I'm sort of nearly there. And like the past year, it sort of took off in the same way as your show. So I'll be more than happy further down the road to come on a lot more regularly, lads. Honestly, it's a pleasure.
Oh, that's good stuff.
I have a question. Two things I know, Charlie, about you, right? Every time I hear you open your mouth, right, you're always reminded of Sam Fender, that energy and Cheeky Charlie sort of atmosphere and stuff. And I love that about you, right? But also about your articles, mate. You're probably one of the only writers for the Chronicle who never makes any stupid spelling mistakes.
No comment, man. I can't say that.
I was going to say, I've been living over here for so long. The first time Charlie came on the show, I was like, what the fuck? I didn't understand the word he was saying. It's taken me a little while to get back in the vibe. He's been on a few more shows, so it's kind of like it's one of those things I didn't fully get him.
Martin, are you? I thought you were an Irish lad.
No, I'm from Newcastle originally.
Are you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
I'm over here 20, Jesus, how long? Yeah, 22, 23 years now. Yeah, I'm from Washington originally.
That is.
I'm a Washy lad.
Hey, when I heard that, I thought he was from Washington in the States. I didn't know there was Washington in Newcastle until I googled it.
Yeah, out towards Lambton. Yeah, I used to live in Oxclose and Lambton.
See, you sound more Irish than Daz now, man.
Well, he's over the west, and he's at the posh end of the country. I'm a little bit rougher.
Yeah,
really.
I went to Dublin a couple of years ago for my 21st birthday. Honestly, it's not dented a hole in my pocket. It's expensive for a pint.
Hasn't got any better, mate. I can tell you.
It was we were in the Harcourt Street area. Is it Harcourt Street? Yeah. And there was a kebab shop around there, and my ex-missus at the time, I went, go on, get with a pizza and kebab. Get with something to eat. It was 3:00 in the morning. And she walked up. She only wanted a margarita pizza, and the bloke went €25, 25 euro. I would give our money.
Once he heard your accent, mate, you were screwed.
He's winding me up, man. I'll speak to him. I went, mate, like, how much is it for margarita pizza? He said €27. I thought, fuck this away.
Daz, I know we've just had another guest join the green room, and it's obviously it's NUFC royalty, but we've got someone who wanted to be part of the show tonight but couldn't make it. Has actually sent us a video which we've uploaded at the system, and go back to a few of the comments in the chat and stuff that we had. It was nice to see everyone saying Loaded International. So if anyone can guess who the message is off, here you go. This is the legend, the good-looking brother, apparently. This is Lee Davey.
Here's Pete's brother, Lee. And thanks for all your help on Fully Loaded Transfer Show, Lee. And we'll see you back again.
Hi everyone, Lee Davey here. Hope you're well. Just sending out huge best wishes and a congratulations to everybody at Loaded Mag. Always a great, insightful and informative show, and I've been lucky enough to be a part of the show on a few occasions, and it's always a pleasure to be in the company of you guys who do such a great job and done a great job in terms of growing your show. Again, somebody who covers European football, your ability to talk about the European leagues and try and integrate that into your show is always nice for somebody who's in the position I am. So again, you've done a fantastic job. I can only see this getting better and better and going from strength to strength. So wishing you all the best and a great job on what is something that's gonna just blow apart in my opinion. So well done everyone, and enjoy.
Cheers, Lee. Thanks for that.
Yeah, appreciate that, Lee. And no doubt we'll see Lee back in the summer as well, because no doubt Fully Loaded Transfer Show will be around for about 2 months or something, don't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, I'm just gonna save myself for the final day, because that 5 hour was a killer in January.
Yeah, I have a question for Charlie. Charlie, how do you fancy battling it out with his name is Andrew Musgrave.
Technology, George.
See, I told you I was tired.
The wheel spinning straight away. Now you've lost the name. You are a superstar, my friend. Well done on tonight's show.
So the question is, how do you fancy battling it out with Andrew Musgrave for Lee Ryder's job in the future?
Well, that's the dream, isn't it? Really, to be the. Because like you have Jordan Crone on the show, and I'll give a shout out to Jordan. Like, funnily enough, this is weird. I used to play Call of Duty with Jordan when I was about 10-year-old, and years down the line, like I had him on Facebook years down the line, and I seen he was doing a sports journalism course, and the one that I'm doing now, and I reached out to Jordan Cronin, saying, "Oh, hi Jordan. I'm thinking about getting into this myself. What have I got to do?" And every sort of step of the way, every time I've reached out to him, he's always been spot on, Jordan. And now he's living the dream. What I want to do, I want to be covering Newcastle United home and away, the same as like Lee Ryder or Kieran Kelly or Chris Waff or Jordan Cronin, Dom Skir, all of them. So Jordan Cronin deserves a special mention, really. I just like to give him a shout out.
Nice one. That's a nice link in, and that's a breaking news and exclusive for Loaded.
God, Daz, we've kept them waiting long enough. Bring out NUFC.
Let's bring out the royalty.
He's retired many times before, but yet we drag him back in. It is Sir Keith Patterson. Shit a brick. Hey,
We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
How's it going, mate?
KP, what's happening?
I don't know. Can you hear us?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, we hear you.
Loud and clear, Chris. Keith.
Right, great. No, I'm just pleased to come on tonight and wish you all the best. And to tell you that, I'm pleased my journey's over, but yours is just beginning. And in the time that I've been involved with this takeover and what's happened since, I think the reason that you've done so well is just the sincerity of you lot. I think as a crowd of people, you bounce off each other and you keep 2 or 3 times tonight you've said to people that you sometimes don't agree with each other, but you always seem to agree in the end. I think that's the key. And whenever I've been on, you've always had me back. So I've had lots and lots of shows saying, will you come on? People I've never heard of, but I reckon all the main podcasts have said, will you come on and do something? In the early days before they got to know us, and then later people thought, oh, it's a way maybe you're getting some numbers. But I've only done yours and Matters. And I've just got to say that for you people, every time I was with you, I always felt as though you had me back. I never doubted why I was going on. And like tonight, when I saw Keith Roll do all these facts and this is what the mate says, have you got anything with better? I says, no, not at all. I just I was going to say well done and congratulations, but it's not surprising.
But basically, Keith, you've got nothing prepared, but you did one letter, mate.
That's it. It was a good letter. But
it was, mate.
It's not surprised me where you've got to, because you just a cracking bunch. You know what I mean? And if I've been to the game and bumped into some of you at the match, Chris Hall stood at the match, Pete Davey, I was with him at Rotherham. Like spin the strawberry with Rich and his boy, and still waiting for Daz coming over, mind. Daz came.
Me too.
But
we will make it at some point, mate.
But it'll be great when you do come over, because people are like looking forward to seeing you. But you're just all the same. It's like, it's not corny. You're all have that thing where you're not out to pull a stunt on somebody. You're not out to get one up on somebody. It's as though you'd rather grow steadily and get people's trust rather than just pull a fast one. And certainly when I've been on the show, and sometimes it's been difficult, because when I was on in the takeover, there was things I couldn't say, and even now today there's things I cannot say that I'd like to say, which would interest people. But on that, there's this next, it will come out. It will come out. There's a lot more to come out yet, and some of it will shock people. But some of the things that's happened with the Premier League since our takeover's gone through, is biggest belief. Biggest belief that Everton can show 8 times more losses than Sheffield United, and 5 times more losses than Aston Villa, and yet they still get away with it. And they should have been penalised for the losses. And now it seems though that the losses are going to be put down to the Premier League, the 19 teams to challenge. But it's uncanny that they've got the Premier League and said, look, we're in debt, and we're in debt to this amount. The losses are phenomenal. And in the age of financial fair play, they get away with it. But there's a lot more to come out. And I don't think the cartel's crushed yet. And I don't think the European Super League's dead yet. I think all that come out. But when I was on your show, it was quite a critical time, because if you'd, sold us down the river, it wouldn't have helped what I was doing, because I was just doing a route to legal settlement. That's all I was doing. I was playing a role. And in time that will come out, I'll be able to explain more what I was doing. There's a few NDAs to get out there. Yeah.
I think for us, we said it earlier on when we were talking about Ben Jacobs and stuff, and from our perspective, we've always maintained that we bring people on regardless of what your opinion of them may be, because as a channel we believe in enabling people to have an opinion and being able to listen, and that was the same with Ben, and very much so the same with yourself. Between the two of you, you're not everybody's cup of tea, but we want to give people the option to make their own minds up. We bring guests on, and we want, Ian and Larry and Geordie Tune for Life and everybody else that watches us, Charlie and Simon, to be able to sit, listen to what you've got to say, and then make their own way in life and go, well, yeah, actually, that's all right, and I'm happy to listen, or no, I still think it's bullshit, and I'm not going to watch a show again. But we want to give people that opportunity, and that's what we've continued to do. So from our perspective, obviously we knew you through Matters and stuff. but like certainly from our side, when we've had you on the show, you know, there's probably some of the best nights we've had ever sat chatting. And then obviously when the takeover went and you came back on and we were celebrating and everything else. So from my perspective, I'm sure Daz and Richie are the same, and I know Pete and Chris will be as well. Look, we owe, from our own viewpoints, we owe you a massive debt of gratitude for everything that you did, for the fan base, for the club, for everybody else. And people will either believe it or they won't believe it, as you said, but one day it will all come out. And, you know, I hope that somewhere in that life, you can turn a page of a book, Keith, and go, well, I fucking told you so. And I'm sure that day will come. But we've loved having you on the show, from a point of chatting about stuff, but more so in general, talking just about the club, talking about the old days, talking about players, talking about the future. And I think, you know, in days where we perhaps weren't in such a great spot, I think you gave people hope. And I think in any day and age, and we said this about the channel, if only one person watches us, if only one person listens to what Simon said about men's mental health and makes a phone call and reaches out, then for the hour and a half we sit here tonight, do you know what? I've done something that's worthwhile. So I think that's all we can say, you know.
I mean, on what I was doing, it was, I wasn't working with a script, but I knew if we got certain things done, one result would definitely happen. And nobody knew that, you know. Even the buyers didn't know that it was going to go through when it went through. And so if you looked at when it went through, there was a lot of shock and a lot of disorganisation. And it's hard when you do know what's happening and you sworn to secrecy and you signed NDAs. You would lose your house if they went through. But it's easy for people to sit there and doubt. But when you just said earlier, one day I hope you can look down and say, I told you so. It's more than a hope. It's not one day only a blind idiot's going to say this didn't happen and that didn't happen, because there's proof and evidence there, and there's a lot of that to come out here. But I've still kept in touch with some of the key people who I worked with at the time, and they say get it out. And some of the prominent, well-known people are saying get it out. And when the day allows that to happen, I will. In the meantime, I'm not bothered. I'm not worried in the least, because it only bothers people if you want something out of it. And all I wanted was a takeover. I just wanted to see my club compete. And now, as a Newcastle fan, I'm having the best time of my life. The more I'm here to do at St James Park, so I'm going that do on Friday. I'm going to the ground to meet Stu Penman on his birthday, and I'm going out with Tim Tipster, Johnny Allen, Steve Hasty. And we're just going for a bite to eat, and then go to the match on Friday. So I've got everything I want. You know, my reward's there. It'd be a shame if I popped my clogs and didn't put the story down black and white and tell people what really happened. But when you see some of the things that did happen and see some of the stuff behind the scene which never been published by anybody, by any press or anything. I mean, the press didn't have a clue what was happening. You know, I like, you know, the old shit and brick story. I told Ant and Deck 2 days before it was out there, and we were stood there on the morning on the Thursday takeover, and Sky was still saying the Premier League have still got to pass this. The Premier League passed on the Monday. We signed up on the Monday, and the deal was announced on the Thursday. But Sky was still announced on the Wednesday that the Premier League had passed it. It'd been passed on the Monday. So all that will come out. And then people will look and go, Jesus Christ. So there's a lot of people kept quiet and just let things play out. But when it comes out, I don't think I'll say, I told you so. I think I'll just sit there and say, isn't it great to support Newcastle? And now there's never been a better time to support the club. What I do find hard is simple things like, if somebody said to you 3 months ago, you know, you're in the shit, you're going to get relegated. And I said all along we wouldn't, when we really were behind points. But if somebody turned around and said, look, I'll get you 9 points clear, we'll have 3 off the away games, and they're going to be Everton, Tottenham and Chelsea, and you're going to get nothing out of them. But you're going to be 9 points clear, you'd have took it. But then if you saw the outrage after the Tottenham game, people slagging players off, people slagging the club off, like, you've got to look and see you're 9 points clear. You know, beat Wolves on Friday night, it's all over. You know what I mean? Like we've got to be calmer, and we've got to be more supportive. The wheels were always going to come off at some stage. We had a championship side where we put 5 players in, and turned into a team of tryers and a team fighting and battling for each other. But like if you're 9 points clear and you see what's behind you, if you see the state of Watford and you see the state of Norwich and you see what Everton are doing, to join with Burnley, you've got to sit there and say, we're not really in that fight. We're nearly out of it, and it won't benefit anybody if people keep slagging people off. You know what I mean? I mean, I'd like to see Sean Longstaff get back in. He had a blinder against Leeds. He had a blinder against Chelsea, and he hasn't played since. So I would like to see players like that come in and run themselves into the ground. But one game, Spurs away, and Harry Kane was exceptional. We probably had 10 players at the worst game of the season all at once in the second half. Yeah. So I tell you can enjoy all you want. You'll not change it. The result is still the same. For me, I just think there's never been a better time to support Newcastle than what it is now. And I'm just grateful. What I dreamt would happen happened in the window, the last window. And when you talk about, Charlie's talking there about people like Jordan Cronin and Liam Kenny, they're reporting about people we're looking at, people that we're looking to sign. It's dreamland. It's absolutely dreamland. And there's a lot of people who would have signed had we been in a better position in the January window. But they'll come in the summer. And I think, come next year, next season, I think we'll massively challenge in a stronger way than people think. I think if we get the signings we hope to get in the summer, I think we'll be in a place that will shock even people in the Premier League.
Was it ever a moment, Keith, throughout the whole process where I think I remember after the transparency protest where, the Premier League were doing the usual tricks and I think they had the case kicked back to the January. Obviously never got to that. Was there ever a time where you sort of had any doubts, or was it like 100% unwavering like the whole time, mate?
The best person to talk to on that, if you talk to Jordan Cronin's boss, Liam Kennedy, because he was the one who was in my confidence, and he'll probably put a book out about the takeover and the fact of how it happened, just not the detail or the juice, more the facts and the times and what. But he saw things at the time that others didn't see. And every time he comes, I had 2 meetings with him, one for 5 hours, one for 6 hours. He said, every time I come down, every time I had a wobble, he phoned us up. He says, I just don't think it's going through. And I'd say you're wrong. Sometimes on the phone half an hour, but I had 2 long meetings with him. At the end of it, he come out. He says, it's just not a case of if it's happened, it's when. So I never ever doubted it was going to go through. The only thing I doubted was whether Mike Ashley actually sustained the competition action, because that was millions in fees to sustain. And if he lost the belief, let's suppose my only fear all the way through was an American group came in and bought it. You know what I mean? And gave him somewhere near 305 million. If they come in and give 285, and then he took a case on to try and recover the 20 million, the shortfall, then that was a fear. But Justin Barnes always assured us that Mike Ashley wasn't going to do that, and he was going to see to the end, and it was personal. And for all it's dead easy to join the old crowd and say, Ashley out, he's not. I was always grateful. And if you notice all the way through the fight, I'm not there to win. I wasn't there to win popularity. I wasn't there to win friends or anything. I was there just to do a job, to get a takeover, and to bring a knowledge in, a competition action nobody else had. So when I took lip and crap off people like, I'm not even going to mention it, it's not worth it, but other lawyers who were specialists in nothing to do with football, competition action, anything else, I used to take crap off them telling me that, one guy who's quite a prominent person on the Newcastle timeline said that the competition action won't have any impact on the takeover. And I just thought, what an idiot. But so did all the barristers. So all the barristers and QC said, where did they get these lawyers from, Keith? I said, it's unbelievable. And when you look at his speciality, he'd never had any experience in that whatsoever. And I challenged him, I said, have you ever done any competition actions? He said, no. But if the competition action had run, bear in mind, it was viewed by the biggest viewing public ever. Nick DeMarco covered that. He said, nobody's ever watched a competition for 33,000. It was seen in 50 countries, a quarter of the world. And within a week, they folded. But what you don't know, and what will come out is they folded earlier. The Premier League didn't want the competition action to run because they knew it was going to be an embarrassment. And the whole scene you saw that day was just a pure embarrassment for the Premier League and for the lawyer, and putting notes under him. And the reflection of his computer showed about 5 people sitting around him, prompting him. It was a fun show. It was like watching Sucky and Sweep. So the answer, Charlie, is no. I didn't have any doubts that it was going to happen. And I said to them at the very, very start, with Nick DeMarco and Shai Fatima and Justin Barnes present, I said the only way this will ever go through is with a competition action whereby you get the disclosure you need to show what the Premier League's been doing to tier. And when I first met them, they didn't know what the reason was why the takeover was turned down. And I said, well, we think we do know. We can pinpoint the dates and give you the evidence to back it. And that's what we did. Give them 90 gigabyte of evidence. So a lot of people sitting there saying about not knowing and this, that, and the other. If you ask the lawyers that were involved, they'll tell you what we knew. And if that comes out, well, I shouldn't say if, when that comes out, there's a process now to get it out. Even the most gullible, offensive person will just say I was wrong. And I'm not there to prove people wrong. I'm there just to let the good fans like you lot know what really happened, because it'll intrigue you as to what was going on and what we were fighting against. Because you weren't just fighting against the Premier League. You had clubs, and I have a total dislike for some of them clubs now. One that we played at the weekend, and they went out the way and were determined. And if you can't say that, if you can't say why Lingard never came to Newcastle in the season, had nothing to do with whether Lingard wanted to come or whether he was good for Newcastle, although it ended his career. It was just a dislike and hatred of Newcastle from Man United. When all that comes out, and when you see it, and when you can track it all, you see that the likes of them and Spurs did, you'll get a bigger handle on what was going on. But when I joined the fight, the club weren't as knowledgeable about competition law, or weren't as knowledgeable about the cartel as what we were. We were just digging up dirt every day. And the club didn't have a competition team till I joined them. And then they built a team. So all that will come out in time. But for you fellas, I wasn't coming on your show for support or backing or anything. I was just trying, the direction I was given by the club was to try and keep the fans calm and to try and get the fans to stop lobbying against the club and get them to believe there was a takeover going to happen. Because as long as the takeover was going to happen and the fans believed it, the majority of fans would sit and wait for it. You appreciate that. But if no fan had a voice that said this takeover can happen, and there was only my voice saying that every week. I mean, I had a birthday party 6 weeks before the takeover, and at that birthday party, Steve Wraith was there, Steve Hasty was there, and they got up and presented us. Johnny Allen got us a watch made, NCSL watch, and it was beautiful. And he had COVID. He had serious COVID. I mean, nearly killed him. Yeah. And so what he did was he sent the watch down to the party. So in front of a room with all my friends and family, Steve Wraith and Steve Hasty got up and presented us with it and did a great presentation. And they did a speech like only them two could. It was very warm, and but one thing they said was, Keith thinks there's going to be a takeover, and we know there isn't. And the takeover is finished and it's dead. It won't happen. And he said, but Keith thinks it is, and good on him, because he believes it is. So when I got the mic, I said, look, I know there's going to be a takeover. I know it is going to happen, and say what you want about this, but one day it will happen. And they just all laughed and all. But some of my own family would come over and say, you lost the plot, you like. You know what I mean? It's a nice watch, but like, why do you listen to them? I mean, think of how long they've been doing Newcastle. And that was the way it was. And if I could have shown them some documents, or if I could have let them hear every conversation I had with people in the club, then they would have felt different. I did. And the only one person that I guess I took on the journey and kept believing it was going to happen was Liam Kennedy. He was the only person that like felt like I gave trust to. So Charlie, if you ask them, Liam will probably tell you he thought I was mad at times. And sometimes he said, I don't care what you say today, it's not happening. And I'd say, it is. And he'd say, tell us how. And it was them kind of conversations. But so no, and the fact he's got Jordan there, and you've just sung his praises, Charlie, is brilliant, because he's doing a great job. And Jordan, what Jordan Croden has done is he's gone in quite early and built up some great contacts. And there's a lot of people trying to guess out which contacts he's got. And some of them I know he's got, like I take to the grave. But he's getting real information on the club, on players, on everything really. What's happening. and he knows what to put out, what not to put out. So he'll maintain that trust because he's a real trustworthy kid. But I think he's a breath of fresh air, and I think in sports, right, in Newcastle, I think there's been a need for some youth to come through. So what you're entering, Charlie, is a great arena.
Well, I don't know if you heard before, Keith, but I turned 25 the other day, so I don't know if I've ticked the box for youth.
It's a massive age. It's a massive age. I wish I knew half of what I know was 25, son, because I tell you what, I'd have a lot less hassle now. I'd die a wealthy man. But if you look at Jordan Cronin, and you've said to him, he's a bit of he's a little bit ahead of you. If you follow him, you won't go far off because talking to the likes of Liam, his boss, he holds him in really high regard, and it's that honesty, it's that integrity, and I think that's what Loaded's done, and that's why I want to come at night and say, well done for what you've done. Is you've just, I don't know, you've kept people's trust, and when I went on to NUFC match show with Ben Jacobs, it was a bloodbath. It was just blood and snot all over the place, but it wasn't for me because he got battered. And all I did was I'm still blocked off him, you know what I mean? And there's still grudges there. There's 2 or 3 people, journalists, have questioned us, and they've come off a poor second. And the difference is they've got to make a living out of selling stories. I don't. I was there just to do a job. Once my job was done, I was gone. So when Ben Jacobs went on the Mattis show, I had to get something out of him. I had to get him to admit something that night. And that was for the legal context. I had to get an admission that he'd done something, and I got it out of him, and was complimented during the show on text by the people who just said that he'd done several things in the case that sided with the Premier League, and I wanted to air that. So sometimes when I was on shows, I had work to do, you know what I mean, and I was just single-mindedly either trying to keep the fan base believing the Takeover was going to happen, or get rid of some negatives that weren't happening. And so sometimes it's not an agenda, but it's just my only role was to stay with the legal team and get the Takeover done and build evidence up on the files. So that will come out, and then it might be a year, it might be 2 years, but people then look and say, well, now see what he was doing, and now see why he was doing it.
I think one of the things I want to just touch on that you just mentioned the key thing you said about obviously how Jordan's developing into a fantastic reporter, and one of the things we've noticed on the channel as well is Charlie's going on that same path as well, and he's going to be part of the channel going forward like Jordan is, and we're really happy about that. One of the things I wanted to say to you personally, Keith, was obviously we had Pete Graves on last night, and we were all in awe just listening to him, and we could listen to him all night, and we've always felt the same with yourself as well. That and every time you come on, we can just happily just sit back, listen to you talk. And I know that loads of people have said that in the chat as well. But obviously, I've had the pleasure of meeting you a few times now. I would call you a good mate. We talked, via WhatsApp quite a few times. And do you know what? You're one of the most genuine blokes I've ever met. And we had the Everton game, and I know you said afterwards you thought I was pulling your leg, but about telling you that my eldest was an Everton fan, and obviously you didn't believe I was telling the truth. But it was a really good night in the storm. We had a bit of a banter and drink and stuff like that. But he's it actually leads on. Obviously, we're just talking about the Burnley Everton have just finished, and Burnley have won 3-2. So obviously that makes it very interesting. Yeah. Burnley have won 3-2. Yeah. So it actually quite leads into the last question I was going to ask you before we get onto the final giveaways and before we round the show. Obviously, with your legal little head-on sort of thing regards competition and stuff like that. Say, for example, if Burnley were still to go down, and obviously what we found out in regards to Everton's losses in recent weeks, say for example, if Burnley went down on goal difference or by a point or something like that, do you think there's a good legal challenge for them to turn around and say about, lodging to the Premier League and to all the other members regards to a reversal of our points deduction at a later date due to the financial irregularities?
Do you mean if Everton went down, if Burnley went down?
No, if Burnley were to go down, because obviously they would. If Burnley stayed up, they would need to put that into perspective. But say, for example, if they lost promotion by the goal difference of 1 point, do you think it's worthwhile going down that route?
They will definitely want to have a go, but I don't think it'll succeed. I don't think anybody will succeed once you get closure and you close the league off, I don't think anybody will be able to reverse it. I think if for argument's sake, Everton had the best team of lawyers, you're talking about a difficult route. They're trying to go down a route of complaining about something when their losses are extorted. And when I say extorted, when you can show losses at the club the size of Everton, you put a club next to Sheffield United in the league at the same time, and you can say that one loss is 8.5 times the others, then you've got to sit there and say, was it not a fair challenge? Some people's questioned about fraud on Twitter this week. I don't think committing fraud as such, but I think this and again, this is a personal opinion, so I can't be stupid. My personal opinion is it's fanciful accounting. And every accountant tries to get the most he can, but when you have got a league where you compare to the people, and it's very difficult for Everton to come back. I mean, it would be Burnley that would come back and make the challenge if they went down. I think they would get reimbursed with monies. I think the whole Premier League system works on money. So I think if Burnley built the challenge up against Everton and it succeeded, I think it would need an enormous amount of money to win that challenge. But I think if they won it, they wouldn't get reinstated back into the league and swap places with Everton. I think what they'd do is get compensation. They'd get a bigger parachute payment or something like that. And you've got to imagine when anything happens in the Premier League on its current status, it seems to be done on a vote. And the vote seems to be the top 6 still carry all the clout, followed by the rest. And if you say there's a secondary group, remember where Everton were in on the ESL, I think it would be who would vote for it. And I think there's a hellish difficulty in what you're talking about. If you saw the numbers that Newcastle had to do just to get a takeover through, and then you see what's happening with Chelsea now, there's much greater questions asked of Chelsea's takeover, and Newcastle needed mega money to do this. And if Newcastle had lost, the monies that Ashley would have needed to challenge a loss, if they turned that takeover down the second time, it was massive. But the word from them was they were going to do it. They were going to go again. They weren't going to give up, and that's why they formed their own competition action. So I think they could have lost arbitration. I think Newcastle could have lost arbitration very easy, but it didn't get to that. They knew the competition action was coming. So could Burnley do it? You've got to remember Burnley's in a financial dire since that takeover. Burnley haven't got the money to run these legal challenges against anything. And they're running against a multi-billion organisation. I don't think Burnley would do it. Whether the clubs would do it, again, I can't say that the clubs all agree. I think it's so fragmented. All them other clubs were against Newcastle's takeover. Newcastle couldn't get anybody to vote. The only vote Newcastle's ever had a partner with was a vote after the takeover where they got outvoted 18-2. Man City joined them on a vote once. So why would the other clubs? Why would Spurs? Why would Arsenal? Why would, I don't know, people join Burnley in a fight to say you're being badly done? It would be Burnley's money against the rest. I don't think anybody would squad.
Would you not think it could be something along the lines of Everton, as Pete Graves mentioned last night, going forward with the potential backers that they've got, Everton, that they could be they'll always probably be a bigger force than what Burnley ever will be in the Premier League. So technically, you could get rid of a future competitor if they were to get relegated. So they could join on those grounds. But obviously, as you said, it's not likely to happen. But
I don't think that the big. Let's keep going. I don't think the big 6 are worried enough about Everton's size, stature. The big 6 look at themselves in Newcastle because of the money. And the only thing that would challenge the big 6 is money. So for that reason, and I don't think anybody would say, I don't think that big 6 who carry all the clout would say, thank God Everton's gone. Because I don't think they see Everton as a challenge now. Everton's probably just demonstrated the worst spend of 500 million. I mean, when you look at the squad and you look at people like, can you remember that Ozil? Not Ozil. What they call it? He's a kid came from Turkey, a centre forward.
Yes.
Well, Mesut Ozil was
Tucson.
You look at him. He was a major target for Newcastle, and they were talking it was going to be 20 million. He's never even heard of now. You know, like when you look at you look at some of the centre half, you look at like Delph and people like that. They've got an absolute squad of celebrities. But like if you want to look at how they spend, I'll just mention one player here, Dele Alli. Like how close that could have been us. How many Newcastle fans said, why have we not gone and got him? And what we've got to learn to do is to realise that there's people above us that know more than we do, and the coaches have a damn. The one thing about Eddie Howe is everybody said is he's determined to get his kind of players and check the backgrounds and make sure they fit. And what he doesn't want celebrities tossed it off. Some people close to the club will tell you that this year we'll sign Dembele out of Barcelona and we'll sign Bale. Now, a lot of people say, I don't want them. But then there's other people saying, no, they're not the Eddie Howe kind of player. You know, he wants people that complement Bruno and people in like that. You know, and he wants to build up bit by bit. Like, who'd have thought would have gone for Dan Burn and had so much faith in seeing what he's got to the club? But I mean, if you look at Target, they haven't signed. It doesn't look like they're paying 15 million for him, but it's got to be a cracking buy for 15 million. But you don't know which fullbacks he's looking at. I mean, you're going to you're always going to have two left backs, and if you are, surely Target's a worthy reserve left back. You know what I mean? Whether he wants to show us over and above that, but for me, I just think stop worrying. Just let them go and do it, because they've got bigger ideas, bigger plans than us, and they've got more idea than we have. And after Dele Alli's failure, I think we need to think, geez, that could have been us, like 30-40 million pounds worth of nothing. I dislike the fact that people have to pocket him as a young kid, but his career has just gone south, and it's just.
And it just links back, and I kind of switch the topic a bit, but back into. I'm not going to thank you about the takeover again, Keith, because I'm going to wait till I see you in person and buy you the pint, and then I can say it to you then face to face. But no, what I'm going to thank you for is the WhatsApp group we're in, because I love the jokes that you send on, and I love the banter we have, especially the start of the takeover, and I know it'll be the same in the summer. And Dele Alli was one of the names we did talk about one night on one of, and yeah, as you said, for us, we were all kind of saying, yeah, we'll give a Dele Alli a shot, yeah. But there's people that know better than us as well, and and that's a good thing, you know. That they'll bring in the right people, the right characters as well, that'll suit the system and Eddie Howe's what he wants to get out of it. So, but so I thanks for the WhatsApp group there where we're all in.
I love the WhatsApp group, and it's like even it's like I've got a lot of mates I don't see every week and I don't see every year. When I bump into them, it's exactly the same as though I'd been with them last week. And on that WhatsApp group, if I don't get a message off you in a week, then that's unusual, but then you might get 6 one day, and sometimes you get 2 waxes, you know what I mean? And it's just been good banter, you know what I mean? It's like a group I won't come out of, and since the takeover, I've come out and had loads of group, and I'm having a great time, you know. Like life's just turned for the better for me, but like that's why I don't get pulled into stuff now. When people saying, "Will you do this and will you do that?" Then why? Well, job's done. Job's done. You know what I mean? Like takeover's done. I've got nothing to prove, but one day I'll stick things out there, and you lot will just smile, and grin, and you'll think, well, he did say that was going to happen, but like, do I want to do it a week early? Do I want to do it with an NDA that could cripple us? No, but like, you know, I'm making headway on all that, so it should be good fun. But like tomorrow night, I look forward to sit in the back, hopefully right in the back corner, just watching Shearer. You know what I mean? And just listening to that period that I watched them and listening to them come back. And I'm looking forward to hearing Liam Kennedy asking the questions, because that's a massive stage for Liam to do that.
Yeah,
you know?
It is.
A lot of people thought somebody else would do it, so I'm pleased that he's getting that. And then on Friday night, it's like Dad's Army. It's like Last of the Summer Wine, Stewie Penman, Johnny Allen, Joe Walker. There's loads of us. Hasty, and we just all go for a beer and a pizza and a meal, and then go on the match. So never been a better time to support Newcastle, and never been more optimistic. You know, I never felt so good about it.
Cool.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I'll be looking forward to having a drink with you at the Leicester and Palace game. I'm coming along to those both those games, so I'll catch up with you then again, Keith, as well, because it was a good bit of banter for the Everton game as well. Daz, do you want to do a couple of the draws now? Just before, obviously, I also apologise for Martin and Charlie having to go. Unfortunately, Martin's got a work call to do at 9:30. Unbelievably, but obviously with these suppliers, Fife's being a lot of overseas contacts, he has to take these calls. And unfortunately, Charlie had it off as well. But he did say thank you very much for being on the show, and obviously congratulations to us. So there might be someone literally popping on for 5 minutes to round off the show that we've actually been talking about tonight. But while we're waiting for Daz, do you want to do a couple more of the member draws while we're on?
Let's get it back on screen. And so what's this for, Richie, before I spin it?
Right, well, what we'll do is we will do this for Broadwood's Black and White Army for this one, because Pids and Prince have got 2 giveaways. So we'll do Broadwood's first.
So it's for Black and White Army. Okay, cool. So we're ready for that. And let's go. It's better with sound. You can't hear the sound. Oh, close for chippers. Paul Andrews. Congratulations, Paul. You are a winner.
Congratulations, Paul. So if you want to give it, as Martin said earlier on, if you want to reach out to either myself, Daz, or Martin, or the Loaded Twitter account, send us a DM. We'll put you in contact with Broadwood, and we'll get your prize shipped out to you as well. And what we'll do is we'll move on to the first giveaway from Pids and Prince that we've got left. And it is, if I get the picture up in chat for what the prize is, it is the limited edition Jonas Gutierrez pin badge of his celebration from against West Ham when it kept us up that season. I think everyone knows which game we're on about. It was a fantastic goal. You know, we couldn't have asked for a more fitting person to score the goal that kept us up. So this is for a limited edition pin, Daz. So do you want to get the next draw underway?
Okay, Richie. Pins and Prince draw. We could go full time at this, Richie. Spin this wheel. Here we go. And the winner is very close. Druck Knox. So congratulations, Druck Knox. We have to track down these people now.
We will do, won't we?
So congratulations, Druck Knox.
Okay, and the final one from Pins and Prince are part of his new range. Now there's been one out beforehand, which was the legendary plaques that they've got out. So the ones that we've got on here is like the 95, 96 shirt combo, or the Peter Beardsley legend shirt lines. Now they've also got an Alan Shearer one as well. However, what he's actually said is because it's such an important giveaway for our anniversary, the winner of this draw can actually choose any Newcastle legend of their choice and the kit to go with it. So get your thinking caps on if you're the winner. Reach out to myself, Daz, Martin, or the Loaded account, and we'll pass the details on to Dean and Pins and Prince if you are the winner. So Daz, do you want to get this one up and run?
Is this the last spin of the night, Rich?
It's the last spin, mate, for this month, mate.
Here we go. Is it you, Richie?
No, just who's on there next?
Yeah, we're going to remove you, Richie, and we're going to spin again.
Yeah, I don't know. That's twice I've not got the prize.
We're not giving you anything.
I still don't understand why you keep us in it. I don't know why you take me and Chris out of it.
Just for the fun. Sir Monkey Suit. Another one we have to track down.
Yeah, so congratulations to Monkey Suit. If you want to reach out, as I said, DM any of us on the Loaded account, and we will get that sorted out through Dean. And as a legend of your choice. Now, I've reached out to the person who was trying to get on. It looks like they're not going to make it now, obviously, coming at the end of the show. So it was actually Jordan Cronin from Full Loaded Transfer Show. We had been talking about him tonight. And unfortunately, the guest that we had lined up, who isn't going to be able to make it due to babysitting duty, was the legendary man of mystery, Sean Casey. But unfortunately, he's on daddy duties tonight, so he hasn't been able to get on. So, but you know what? What better way to finish the show than have an NUFC royalty clear out, end the show in Mr.
Like in transfer deadline day. Exactly.
Yeah, I got transfer deadline day. Yeah, he did. He came on. Unfortunately, I wasn't on that show. I was busy that night. But yeah, it's always a privilege to have Keith on the show. He's always welcome whenever he wants to come back on the show. And we don't always hound him for shows and stuff like that. But if there's something that comes up special that we think he's always happy to oblige and spend half an hour or so with us, and we always appreciate that. And I know all the Newcastle fans who follow the story from throughout the takeover days and afterwards will always appreciate any minutes of podcast time from Mr. Keith Patterson. So I'd like to say thanks for joining tonight. I know Daz will as well, and all the rest of the lads who were on before, and obviously the viewers who've been in the chat all night. So once again, Keith, much appreciated that you decided to give us a little bit of your time tonight. We always appreciate it, as I said, and we look forward to see. I'll look forward to seeing you in a few weeks' time. But also back on the show again in the future.
Thanks very much. It's been a pleasure, and tonight's all about you lot. And just well done. Keep doing what you're doing. People buy people, and that's why your show's growing. So keep doing what you're doing. Keep in touch. I know I'll hear from you on the WhatsApp, and I look forward to come back on again. Well, now the real reason that why Martin's left the chat tonight, it wasn't because of a work call. It's because he just didn't want to see the ending of the show. Now, as promised, Daz has brought back the zebra.
One night only.
I've had a few messages tonight of people who watched the show who weren't watching when the zebra was about to be saying, "What's the zebra? What's the zebra?" So I've said, "Just wait and find out. You'll love the zebra." But here we are. So, but anyway, everyone in the chat, all the guests who joined us tonight, much appreciated. We're on a big push to 3,000 subscribers. Just click on the website. If you've enjoyed the content we're putting on every week, then it's free to subscribe to the channel. That push to 3,000 subs. We keep having people in the chat turning around saying, "Can't believe you're not at 3,000 subs yet." Like the videos, it helps get us up the algorithms, as Daz always says. But it also, it more appreciate the support that you do. Also, if you want to support the channel, become a member and take part in all the member draws that we've had on tonight. It's $1.99 a month. As I said, you get part of the exclusive the draws that we do every single month that only the members will take part of. It's $1.99 a month. But if you don't want to, don't worry. Subscribe to the channel and you'll still get all the content free of charge. There you go, Daz.
Right. Thanks, Richie, and thanks, Keith, for coming on and joining us. We will see you again, no doubt, and hopefully face to face when I get over to Newcastle soon. I always say that, soon. But thanks everyone for watching. Thanks everyone for the wishes, and thanks everyone for messages on Twitter and everything like that. So we're going to bring the night to a close with the final ever zebra. Say goodbye to the zebra, and I'll remove a little banner as well. So we can see it properly. And there's a little bit of a twist on this one at the end. So, good night, everyone. Take care.
See you guys.
Yeah, well, thanks for watching.
It's Friday then, it's Saturday, Sunday, woo! It's Friday then, it's Saturday, Sunday, woo!